Hi, a few remarks about opera houses. If you live in Los Angeles, you might want to go down to the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion and see the magnificent Dorothy Chandler Opera House, where Placido Domingo is artistic director. And you can see the beautiful chandeliers from the outside. And when you go in, there's a vast foyer where you can spend your hard-earned money on various kinds of things, recordings, and you can see costumes of previous great opera singers and so on. Or if you know New York, you may want to go to Lincoln Center and see the great Lincoln Center Opera House, the home of the Metropolitan Opera. If you're in Buenos Aires, you go to La Colonna in London, you go to Covent Garden in Berlin, the great Opera House of Berlin, the great Paris Opera House, and the most famous of them all, La Colonna. No, I'm sorry. And then there's La Colonna in Buenos Aires, and the most famous of them all, La Scala, Milano. La Scala in Milano. Of course, that means the scales or the steps. La Scala, right? Okay. So picture that a magnificent building in your mind, if you can. And let's talk a little bit about it. So here is the structure. I want to draw your attention first to the fact that this would be the audience here, which is a pretty good part of the theater, but the stage area is very small. So compared to the building and the business and the art of opera, the stage area is actually a very concentrated, small area, a living picture, if you will. Now, what goes on in all this area? Oh, my goodness. Well, the performers come in here, and they have their makeup rooms, and you have all sorts of departments here. You have a place where the scenery is designed and executed. You have the place where shoes are kept. You have the costume house. You have the various dressing rooms of artists. You have a cafeteria where a hungry singer can get a bite to eat, or anybody can. You have a place where the scene painters and the carpenters hang out and tell bad jokes. It's just a world that goes on. Now that's the backstage. And I want to assure you that while this is the stage, there is a side stage here, often bigger than the stage itself, each one. And there is a backstage here, and then this entire area here. At the Metropolitan Opera House, each one of these areas is much bigger than the stage itself. And in fact, I have seen myself at least two different soccer games going on backstage with the technical workers at lunch. Seriously, full opera field size in the back. So this area is enormous. Things are stored there, furniture for a scene change, other settings, and so on for a grand opera. Now here is the orchestra, and it generally is at least partially underneath the stage. Here's the stage area, and the orchestra is here in front of and below the stage. We'll talk more about that later. So the conductor would be here at a height that would be visible to everyone on the stage. So this is the audience, and the audience area will be, 10 to 15 times the size of the stage. Maybe more. A good-sized opera house will hold 1,500, 2,000 people, maybe more. Now, we must always remember that opera is concerned with acoustics. So this building and its interior will be made with a lot of stone and wood. Now, the audience will absorb the sound and dampen it with clothing, the skin area, and so on. And the seats themselves are made of cloth. They will absorb the sound. So the walls and the structure inside the theater, and even the ceiling itself, will have to be acoustically sound and made of materials that will embolden the sound, will possibly add color to it, and to a certain extent will echo it, so that you get the sound from the stage. And remember that opera is never amplified. That is one of the great interesting things about opera. I have never heard a legitimate opera performance where the voice was amplified. Opera singers have to just put it all out there, and this wonderful pure sound they create has to carry. Even with a full orchestra, they sing with the orchestra and through the orchestra. We must also remember, and this is just a bare introduction, that there is a social aspect to opera. The layers and divisions of society, financial, social, and so on, are reflected in the opera house. There is in opera attendance an aspect of society that involves dressing to the hilt, jewels, beautiful dresses, tuxes, and so on. So those who wish and those who have the means can really put on a show. And this was especially true in the 18th and 19th centuries. The foyer out here would be a place where people walked arm in arm together. They processed, showing off their dresses and their tuxes. Also, of course, champagne, various foods were served, and the intermissions were quite long. This still can happen today in German opera houses where I've performed. It's not unusual at all. It is a very social aspect, for example, of German, French, Belgium, Dutch, English, Italian, and Spanish societies. Opera is a place where social ritual is a matter of course. This includes young people too, you teenage rascals out there listening. Young people come to these also. So you have this enormous building, which is a mirror for society, of which the stage is a small part, and yet everything is focused on this stage. The business office will be here in the background. You may even have a building at the side of the theater which will house the building, the people who schedule the operas, who pay everyone, and so on. It's a big business. I'll just close with this statistic. There were, in Germany, when I was there, 66 full-time theaters. And each of those theaters, I worked at several of them and was a guest at many more. Each of those theaters had a ballet, a drama company, a singing company, a full symphony orchestra, a business office, and a huge technical staff. So this building is not just an architectural wonder. And remember, the stage is only a very small area in the theater, but it is a beehive of human activity in which everyone is dedicated to creating a meaningful drama, a meaningful narrative full of golden moments of beauty for you on the stage. Thank you.